Did you know that FTX deposits were used to pay off Alameda creditors?
This is so bizarre to me.
Today, Junior?
I don't know of FTX deposits being used to pay off Alameda creditors.
Now wait for it.
Which creditors are you referring to?
Carolyn Ellison said that you...
Your Honor, he's guilty.
These funds were put into Alameda. They were the funds owned by your...
I love how he's having to talk to him about it like he's a child. Like, the customer's money that you stole.
A lot of the customers on FTX did have, borrows either, in dollars or Bitcoin or euros.
But as you know, the FTX terms of service tell the people none of the digital assets in your account are the property of or shall be or may be loaned to FTX trading. But you're saying that happened.
My understanding is a few things happened.
No. Can you just get back to the first thing, please?
If Alameda is borrowing the money that belongs to FTX depositors, that's a bright red line, isn't it?
There are a lot of cases where that's actually explicitly part of the program's...
That's not what he's talking about, dude. Obviously. Come on.
It says that the digital assets may not be loaned to FTX trading. They can't be loaned out.
How about that, Sammy? This is so weird. I drive a Toyota Corolla and I'm a vegan, but I'm overweight. It makes no sense. I know.
They're saying they didn't approve of it here. They're saying you approved of it.
If you rewind to, the beginning of FTX.
We don't want to rewind anywhere. We're actually just good with being right here where we are right now and trying to figure out what transpired in the last few months here.
Some customers were, I think in line with sort of existing relationships that they've had, at least in some cases, wiring money straight to Alameda Research in order to trade on FTX.
So you do know, and you did know, that FTX deposits were being funneled to Alameda.
So I was vaguely aware that that was how some wires were being sent in the first place.
Didn't that set off alarm bells in your head?
George with the animation there, I like it.
Didn't that set off alarm bells in your head?
I really deeply wish that I had taken a lot more responsibility for understanding what the details were.
This is where it gets really interesting. George Stephanopoulos, when he starts to press him here, you see, in my opinion, SBF's real character in terms of his own arrogance and hubris about his own smarts.
Look, I really deeply wish I had taken a lot more responsibility for understanding what the details were of what was going on there.
But you're ultimately responsible.
And ultimately, absolutely.
The buck stops with you, buckaroo.
Look, I should have been on top of this, and I feel really, really bad.
Oh, he really sounds like he feels bad, right? That's a real compelling.
Really, really bad and regretful that I wasn't. And a lot of people got hurt. That's on me.
They lost everything? Well, that's on me.
This is really a yes or no question.
Yep.
Carolyn Ellison says you knew that FTX funds were being funneled to Alameda. Did you know that?
I knew that there is an open margin position there and that involved...
I know, but
it's not answering the question, Sammy.
That's not what I'm asking.
George, that's not what I'm asking, okay?
If she's in court and you're in court and she's under oath and you're under oath and you're asked, did you know that these funds were being funneled to Alameda? What is your answer?
Now, this is how you fail the interview. Okay, watch this.
I did not know that there's any improper use of customer funds.
If you were truly trying to make everything right, and own up to your mistakes, you would never have to answer the question like that.
Took out a $1 billion loan. What was that for?
Yeah, what are you doing with that money there?
That was generally for reinvesting in the company.
That was mostly for hoes.
Not for consumption. To my knowledge, I have basically nothing left. Basically everything I had was invested in the business.
The money that you used to buy your real estate and your parents' real estate, what was used for that? Was any of that money customers' money? And if not, then is there a plan to liquidate your assets to help pay back customers who lost everything they had put on the platform? Because I would think that would be the right thing to do if you're sincere about doing the right thing.
I expect I'm going to have nothing at the end of this. I got $100,000 left in my bank account.
Which is $100,000 more than many of your customers.
Last I checked, and I think I have one credit card working with that right now.
Are we supposed to feel bad for this guy? I definitely am not going for the whole, poor him.
Somebody thought you had, what, $32 billion?
Probably 20, but...
Probably 20, if I really counted it.
A whole lot more than I do now.
I can't imagine what it feels like to go from $20 billion to $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've never had $20 billion, loser. This is the one part of the interview where I feel a little bit like part of the deal was like we can soften it up at the end. Like these have been really good questions and I think hard-hitting questions, and SBF has not done a good job of answering them. But as you'll see, it sort of frames them like this victim, and I don't like that.
It's been a really humbling fall in a lot of ways.
How do you explain the failure? Was it inattention, arrogance?
I wish you wouldn't give him ideas here.
It's a good question.
Was it unethical?
Some part of it was
it the Toyota Corolla?
Just literal distraction. I really should have spent some time each day taking a step back and saying, what are the most important things here, right? And like, how do I have oversight?
This is so weak. How he was able to let this happen under his watch. He's basically like, if I just set some time aside each day, I could have solved this an hour a day. It keeps the risk away.
Frankly, I did a pretty incomplete job at that. I spent a lot less time looking at assets.
He was in the gym.
And looking at balances and positions, because that's not where revenue came from.
This next part is probably the best part of the whole thing, and there's a little bit for us to unpack, so let's get into it.
You said one of your great talents in a podcast was managing risk.
That's right. And
oh, you see, he kind of gets him here a little bit. You can see his face.
And
it's obviously wrong.
Well, I think that there's something maybe even deeper wrong there, which was I wasn't even trying. Like, I wasn't spending any time or effort.
Now, what he means to do here, I think, and this is just my opinion, I think he got kind of caught up in a trap here because now he felt the need to defend his intellectual superiority, because as soon as George Stephanopoulos pointed out that, hey, you were wrong about risk management as one of your fortes, he says, well, actually, it's not because it's not my forte. It's because I didn't spend any time on it. I didn't try. Now, that sounds terrible for a lot of reasons, but like I said, I think it points out something bigger.
I wasn't spending any time or effort trying to manage risk on FTX. I wasn't spending any time or effort trying to manage risk on FTX. And that obviously,
that's
that
a
was
stunning admission.
That's a stunning admission. That's a stunning admission. He's real chill. He's like, that's a stunning admission. That's a stunning admission.
What?
That's a pretty stunning admission.
It's a stunning admission, man.
I don't know what to say. Like,
I know what to say.
What happened.
Dude, like you what happened. Look at all that empathy. It just oozes out of him.
And like, if I had been spending an hour a day thinking about risk management on FTX, I don't think that would have happened. I think I stopped working as hard for a bit. You know, honestly, if I look back on myself, I think I got a little cocky, maybe more than a little bit.
I've said this a million times in my podcast because it always comes up in the different studies about investing, but overconfidence can be a killer when you really start believing you're smarter than you are, or you think you're as smart as you are in one of your specialties in an area that's, well, not a specialty. You can get yourself in some serious trouble.
And I think part of me, like...
It also helps if you're not a con artist or a low-life, fat vegan scumbag like SBF here.
You know, felt like we'd made it.
Aw, poor guy. Well, the reason this seems like such a far-fetched batch of you-know-what to me is because Alameda Research, he owned 90+% of it. He was on the board, and he's the guy running FTX. So this idea that he was just, oh my God, I had no idea how crazy it got. It's very, 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 very far-fetched.